My name is Sergio Decaris and I do design and fit outs. So I sort of tend to do a lot of different things. And I find that when you work for yourself, even a small person like you by yourself or 2 or 3 people, you tend to work better when you're bouncing off like-minded people. And that's why I sort of want to create a co-work space, which is more a collaboration space where people can actually just bounce off each other and inspire one another. Well, funny enough, so I bought this property in 2007 and I fell in love with Maitland because of the architecture. And then over years, I always had this idea of creating a co-work space. So I was going to do one in Sydney and that fell through for different reasons. And obviously I had this building in Maitland, and Maitland is one of the fastest growing suburbs in New South Wales. It went from 50,000 10 years ago, now there's 100,000 people living in. And there's a lot of younger generation coming in from Newcastle, from Sydney. So I thought it'd be a perfect place. Everyone stays away from regional areas, which I find the regional areas are where co-work spaces are really needed. So people work from home, but they need somewhere to go. We don't provide day desks, we provide permanent desks. So people have it for the month and pay for the month, and they get to know who's working next to them, alongside them, behind them. And I'm hoping that obviously a collaboration space like this will inspire the young to actually work together and create some amazing things. And it doesn't matter which field they're in. That's why we have a 24/7 access. So we don't have a receptionist. The reason for that is we want people to feel like it's their space. We don't want people to walk in and feel there's a receptionist, so it's the landlord's space, it's someone else's space. And the setbacks that we have is trying to find an access control that would actually give us security, that would allow people to come in a week in one time, and also be 24 hours. So there's access controls that we looked at, and some of them were a tag, or they were via QR code, or similar. Now, the issue that we had with those, they were not as secure as what we went with. And the other thing is that we need to have it so it is self-sufficient. So, and this is the problem with all most access controls, it wasn't self-sufficient. We live in Sydney, space is 2 hours away, and even though we travel up once, twice a week, we can't always be. And also, lifestyle is that we also are overseas most of the time. So if someone calls, we can actually give them access or allow them to use the space. So that was the one of the big key elements, was actually having an access control that allowed us the luxury of not being on site and allowed us the luxury of being anywhere in the world. And some of them were based on servers, which you had to create a server. The server's still on site. So if something went wrong, you still need someone here. And having Airfob was really a key element, because everything's on the cloud. So everything's cloud-based. And that's what the world is about. It's all cloud-based. So, and that's one of the big driving factors. So from a security point of view, you want people to walk in at any time, 24/7, and access the property. Now, as someone who's inside, you also want to know that only the people coming in are members. So, and that was a big key element for it. So, and Airfob was, obviously amazing in relation to that. Now, going back to that story of meeting Airfob. So, funny enough, we had the space finished, and I didn't have access control, so I couldn't open the space because I didn't have the access control. And then we received an email. I had a look at this email, and it was an email just based on this new startup company. So I looked at it, and the minute I called up, I spoke with Drew Lee, that was the turning point. So I looked at access points, access control. The thing was, you could see who the installer was, but you don't know who the developer was. So you could have something that was installed, but in 5 years' time, or 1 year time, 2 years' time, the software can easily be gone or not be able to upgrade, and then I have something that's obsolete. So talking to Drew, he gave me the confidence that this was an expanding business and an expanding module, and it was a growing module. So, and I work with Drew now, 6 months or 5 months now, and everywhere we're going, how we're expanding, Airfob is expanding with us, and that's the most beautiful thing to watch. So, and this is the same thing as what we're trying to create here as a co-work space. We're doing that with just the access control. So the tenant's reaction to this is like opening an Apple box, an Apple product. So you can have a beautiful space, But I still remember doing my first walkthrough with the tenant my first tenant. And I was not able to drive up. So what I did is I said to him, meet me at the site and I'll give you a walkthrough. And he goes, oh, how's that going to work? And I said, just meet me at the site and I'll open the doors for you. He turned up the site, I FaceTimed him, and at the front door, I pressed the button on my Airfob Pro app and opened the front door. And he just went, wow, this is cool. And he walked through and I showed him every office, boardroom, all the rest of it, that same way. So it allowed them to feel like this is phenomenal. This is today's age. This is what it's meant to be. So, and then when he actually signed up, I sent him through the credentials to sign up, to open the doors, download the Airfob app. You know, everything was there, easy to set up. Walk to the front door, touch the fob, and walk through. Now you can actually just swipe the fob to, so he's actually, in background mode, and he just walks through. He just walks up. The phone actually detects him being there, and he just enters the door. So, and this is what we expect in today's day age. It's not we're worried about creating businesses and, collaborating and being the best that we can be. We don't want to worry about opening a door. So, and this is what the best thing was. So, when I spoke with Drew, one of the big elements was having a product, that is expandable and support and all the rest of it. But the other big element was actually having someone that can actually install it. And that was the big thing where Drew actually recommended a guy called Ted Glenn. And Ted Glenn was absolutely amazing. He met me on the site when he was supposed to. We went through, nothing was a problem. And we worked together. So he did all the installation and, if there was anything that I needed to do, he would just tell me and everything just worked and ran very smoothly. And I think that was the other element. So going with Airfob was not just the fact of going with a product that is the cloud-based, expandable, and is a superior product that I believe in the marketplace. He was also having the right connection to actually do the install that knew exactly what Airfob does, but also what my needs were, and we can collaborate them together and create exactly what I want. The whole thing was, what I found refreshing is that they actually knew the product, but they had a wide, vast array of knowledge for anything, even when it came to the printer. So we tried to do the printer, we tried to do access control on the printer, and then we're trying to think, how do we simplify this to, have the same app to, access the front door, the offices, and also the printer. And they came up with a solution, and he came up with a solution to actually use this little module, put it up to the printer as a card reader. So, and that's the beauty of having someone who understands and has the knowledge and the passion as well.